So I've got some exciting news. Well, it's exciting to me. The loom that I bought a second-hand Louet Kombo loom, which if you've been watching my channel, you'll know about it. I bought the loom, kind of knew that it looked a bit weird, and instead of handles it had these little wooden toggles like what you might find on a coat. You know, they were sort of square with holes in. But they didn't really work properly. They didn't create enough of a shed when you pulled them down. So I thought, right, I'm going to have to just buy the handles, which were quite expensive and shipped from, I think, from Holland. So I had to wait quite a while, 6 to 8 weeks. Luckily, it was more on the 6 week side. And finally, they have arrived. So I've got 2 blocks like this, quite different from the Jane loom, where you have a plastic mounting system where they sort of connect together. I did try using some Jane handles, but it just wasn't going to work for my loom. So I bit the bullet. I bought 2 of these. They were pretty expensive for some pieces of wood and metal, but then what are looms? Pieces of wood and metal. So anyway, no instructions. And I was sort of expecting there to be holes in the actual toggle block that you could just screw into the frame of the loom, but there isn't. I've worked out from photos that the curved bit of the toggle block goes upwards, and that the bottom, the sort of flat bottom, lines up with the bottom of the castle. And when I had a look on the back, so I was looking for holes, you know, towards the edge. But actually, when I've looked closely, there are 2 small holes, and there are some holes on the back of the castle that have obviously been used in the past. And these small holes actually line up with those. So I was like, right, okay, so you obviously screw it in from the back. But I'm a bit nervous, or I was a bit nervous to do it without getting some proper instructions. So I contacted the place I bought it from. They tried but couldn't really help me with the details. So I contacted Louet, and in the meantime, I dug through my screw collection, and I'd found a screw that goes through, that's lengthwise, goes through the castle and kind of part way into the toggle block. And they seem to be sort of fairly thin screws, and just kind of would bite a bit on the holes that are already there. So I'd kind of put these screws out, and when Louet came back to me, they said, don't use wood glue, which is what I was thinking with the screws for added strength. They said they don't use any wood glue. And they recommended this exact size of screw. So I'm going to screw it together. Okay, so not the easiest process to film, because I'm not going to be able to show you both sides, having not got more than one filming option, but we will see how we get on. So I've put one screw slightly in. I'm going to try the next one. Screw it through a bit. Right. So make sure I've got the rounded side up. See if I can fit them onto the 2 holes. Okay, good. Now it's not in my best hand, but we'll see how we get on. Okay, screw it on from the side. Oh, got one of those screwdrivers. It's supposed to sort of help turn, but I never can quite work out how to do it, so I don't, but I probably should. Okay, so there's still a bit of a gap. Let's see if I can try and screw them on sort of evenly. Okay. Right, now before I do it in really tight, I think that looks like it's in the right position, although they are a bit wonky. So it's further up. Is it further up on one side, or is it just... I don't think it is further up on one side. I think it just feels like it is because it's screwed in a bit more on one side. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's put the handles down and we'll keep screwing. Hopefully It's getting there. When I tighten one, it sort of seems to loosen the other one off, so I'll just keep going. Okay, that's pretty, oh yeah, it feels pretty solid. Okay, I'll just do it a little tiny bit more. Make them more or less flush. Okay, that's about as much as I can screw in. Hurrah, one handle block fixed now. They're obviously a different colour, but we won't worry about that. Oh, I'm so excited to see how they work. I wonder whether I just do one to start with. No, I'll put both on. I've just thread one set up, but I'll put both sets of handles on so that I can make sure that they work. So we've got the second handle block. Again, let's make sure that I put it on the right way up. I think I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so start the screws off. And just to be confusing, there's other screw holes that somebody's made on here, so I need to make sure that I don't accidentally use those. Have confidence, Gemma, let's go for it. You can't obviously see at the back, but I'm just screwing one screw in at a time, a little bit, and then moving back to the other one so that they go in as straight as possible. I'll tell you what, I've been waiting for these for so long, and then I'm gonna hopefully have a working 8-shaft loom, and I think I might actually try and thread them all up and test, because now I also bought two replacement sides. Well, I bought one replacement side because one of these shaft sides had broken. It still was working, but they'd adapted it with a piece of wire, and I thought, well, if I'm going to order some nice new handles, I might as well replace the broken shaft side at the same time. So I've got all the right pieces to do 8 shafts, hopefully. I mean, this is not going to be screwed in perfectly, but if it does the job, and it looks not the worst, then I think that's basically what this loom is about. Okay, so both rounded, pretty much lined up, not too bad, and working handles. So then what I'll do is I will get things ready, and we can try threading up the shafts. I have done a test one so that I could get the correct cord length, because if you see my previous videos, you'll notice that I used this beautiful coloured cord the first time I tried it. And while it's absolutely lovely, well, firstly, now these are too short now that they've got to stretch through the handles, which is a shame. But also, having looked at a sample of the usual tie-up cord, it's much more durable, much more sturdy. So when I was ordering the handles, I thought, what the heck, and I ordered 15 metres of this tie-up cord, so I'm going to swap it out for those. Okay, so I'm going to, and this bit is a bit fiddly, so actually maybe I start it out, but have it close. Oh, it's very tricky to know how to do this properly. So what I want to end up with is the end of the knot going on the inside. So I think if I put it through from the outside, and what I've done is just put a little bit of sellotape, you know, to make it like shoelaces. And you want to, well, I'm trying to leave as short an end as possible, really, so that I'm not wasting too much cord. Okay, then I'm putting it through. There's a U piece of metal in the shape of a U at the back, so I'm putting it through there. Then I'm going to fold it so it's in half and slide it through the hole. And what I might do is bring the camera a bit closer for this bit. So hopefully you can get a better picture. Okay, so this is sort of the opposite to what she did, but her handles were in a slightly different place. No idea why, but we're just going to embrace this. So fold it in half, put it through from the, so you can tell that the handles are actually slightly to the side, and then I think you just whack it over the top, and then you pull it nice and tight with the other end. I might tighten up a little bit more on this end, so we want it to be nice and tight. Yeah, okay. Then I'm going to put it through the U-bar. I'm going to call it a U-bar, I don't really know what it's called, at this end. Okay, now this is a bit, not really got enough tail, so I might have to, let's go back a bit. I might have to, so you can see, might have to reduce the tail on this side so that we've got a bit more on the other side. And I did, this was, I mean, I did try and make it a bit longer from my test one because it was a bit too short, but we'll see. Right, so pull that tighter. Yeah, that should be better. Okay, so try this in a knot. Okay, so then I'm going to put it back in, and this one is a bit stickier. I'm not sure if I need to fiddle with the actual shaft a bit, but it doesn't seem to like to go back in. Okay. Okay, so let's test the handle. Great. So it goes up, but doesn't go too high up, which is perfect. And it stays, which is great. Oh, that's just so amazing. And I can already tell that the shed, if we lift this back up, put it in, that the shed is kind of maximum now, or nearly maximum. I mean, that would be tighter as well. So the shed is so much better than it was with the other toggles. So, great. I'm going to stop it there while I make some other cords, and then we can thread up the rest of them. I'm hoping I've made it a little bit bigger this time. Okay, so through the side. Hurrah! I've done them all. So I have attached and I've tested them all, and they're all moving, I mean, apart from like the squawking, but they all seem to be working really well. So I'm ecstatic actually, because there was a point where I wasn't sure this was going to happen. Okay, so I got a bit overexcited and realised after I'd finished filming that I'd tied up some of the handles wrong. So I'd been a bit confused by why in the instructions the handles were being threaded from the right to left, when my handles seemed to need to be threaded from left to right. But what I realised was that the handles on the what are we on, left side, need to be threaded left to right. So you can see that the holes line up with the left side of the handle, which I did with the right as well, but they didn't stay down. And so what I realised was in the picture she was threading them from this side, and actually they need to be threaded from right to left instead of left to right. So I've now rectified that, and as you can see they stay down. So if you have a Louet Kombo loom and you're rethreading handles, then they are two different threadings. It's different on the Jane loom, you thread them in the middle from the back, so it's a bit less confusing, but as you can see all looks good, but just wanted to make that clear that actually the threading's different for each set of handles. So I'm thrilled that I have a working 8-shaft loom that I can learn how to warp and then start weaving. So that's the next step, warping. At last.